Okay, guys, welcome to the Wrestling Angle. I am Chad Z, and we are here to talk about the go home show to WrestleMania, which takes place this coming Saturday and Sunday. This is a big week for wrestling. We've got we had tonight's show, which was Raw. For those of you that don't follow wrestling, go home show means the show before a pay-per-view. So SmackDown's Friday night show will be the go home SmackDown before WrestleMania. And so we got a big week. We got tonight's Raw. We've got the Hall of Fame inductions tomorrow, which are going to be shown on the Peacock Network. It still doesn't roll off the tongue. I would rather say WWE Network, but the Peacock Network. And then Wednesday and Thursday airs the both NXT shows. So they have a 2-night on that. Friday night is SmackDown, and of course Saturday night and Sunday night is WrestleMania. So I want to welcome in 2 people, Eli Williams and Logan Matthew Berry. This is for you guys.
Hello. It's John C.
Appreciate you guys showing up tonight. Before I get started on what went on Raw tonight, I want to send out a big thank you to Lagnarok Gaming. He runs Lag Nation, and he gave me the opportunity to come into his stream. Now, this is a guy that I've only been watching since pretty much January. Doesn't know me from anybody, and just knows me as coming into a stream and getting in his chat. And he let me come into his stream and talk about my show. And I owe him a big, huge thanks. I got off the after watching him, and I was just floored. I mean, completely floored. And I've got it says 26 followers on the goal there. I actually got some followers when I wasn't even streaming. And this is just by being in his stream and being part of that community. And for those of you that don't know, that community is the Call of the Wild. And that's a game I play, and I love watching people play it. And I'm not very good at it, but I'm learning. You know, I've only been doing the game for about a month. And yeah, I can't thank Lag enough. He is awesome. And you know, let me just thank the people that followed me. I got a follow about an hour ago from Canada Cat, who is also a streamer for Call of the Wild. I follow her. I watch her streams, and she's pretty cool. We got Trailblazing 71, Doe Slayer, who is also a streamer of Call of the Wild. Real Ragnar 82, Lexi Lagan, WPG Robin, Zero Gravity, Verbal Dyslexic, Bob 173, Aim Fix, and Lions Fan. And I got, excuse me, going back to both those Slayer and Aim Fix, they also stream Hunter Call of the Wild, and it's just a phenomenal community, and I feel so blessed to be part of that community. And Lag has been helping me out, and we've got some I want him to be able to help me with my intro to my stream. I want to have a real cool intro like his. And yeah, you're right, Logan. I did get followed by some pretty big streamers out there. I mean, like I said, I can't say enough for Lag. He's awesome, and he followed me too as well. And Lady Lag followed me. They are some really great people, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, their streams have really gotten me through some tough tough moments, and by making me laugh and so on. So I wanted to do that to begin my stream tonight before I started talking about Raw. Yeah, he's you know what's funny too, Logan, is that he's completely different when he's not on stream, like when he's not on camera. He's very laid back, and I love his energy. And every single one of the Call of the Wild streams that I watch are very positive, and I love that positivity. And it's it's very contagious. Um, you know, I'm not known as the most positive person in life. Um, like I mentioned on his stream, I'm 49 years old and very stuck in my ways. Although I do accept change pretty well, but yeah, I want to welcome in Zero Gravity. This is for you, buddy.
Hello. It's John Cena.
Thanks for joining me tonight, buddy. So like I was saying, I'm not the most positive person in the world. I'm 49 years old, kind of stuck in my ways, and although I do accept change quite a bit, and since November, I've actually had to accept a lot of change. So I think I've been doing pretty good. Anyways, I'm not here to talk about myself. I'm here to talk about Raw. And yeah, feel free, guys, to talk amongst yourselves in the chat. I have no problem with that. I don't have any like rules or anything. All I ask is you just be respectful towards each other. That's all. So tonight was the go home show for WrestleMania for Raw, and it was an okay show. I've stated in the past that I've got a real bad taste in my mouth for WWE right now. Because I'm a traditional wrestling fan, and the way they're telling stories it's just not working for me anyways. But that doesn't mean that they're not good. It just means that it's very difficult for me to watch. And because I'm not invested in the stories coming into WrestleMania. And I don't know if it's because of the star power that they have, but it's just not working for me. And I equate it to like the other night, my other stream that I had the other night. I equate it to like I also collect comics, so I have a very hard time reading a comic if the artwork is bad. The story could be great, but if the artwork is bad, it just doesn't work for me. So that's how I feel about WWE right now. And I've stated in the past that I'm seriously thinking about canceling the network. And we'll see what happens after WrestleMania. This is a very big week for that company, and I hope they don't blow it. They've got me invested in the NXT product. Raw has been terrible for quite some time now, and the storylines just aren't working. So, but we'll go over some of these storylines as I go through the show. So, like I said, tonight's show was the go home show for WrestleMania. We basically started off the show with Drew McIntyre, in the ring, and he's basically talking about his match with Bobby Lashley. Nothing real big. They recapped the fact that last week Lashley put basically a hit out on McIntyre, and it just didn't work. And they talk about the Hurt Business, breaking up and all that type of stuff. Which on a side note, the Hurt Business was working. And I thought they were going to wait until after WrestleMania to break them up. Because if Lashley walks out with the heavyweight belt, then he can go out on his own. If he's gonna break off from the Hurt Business, then he should break off totally and get rid of MVP. He doesn't need MVP to do his talking for him. He has drastically improved his mic skills, and he doesn't need somebody to do his talking for him. The same thing goes for Roman Reigns. He doesn't need Paul Heyman there as his mic guy. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens after Mania with these storylines. So that's what we got to start off the show. The first match we got was Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. Yeah, that's right, Gravity. He does need him. He needs. Let's put it this way. He needs Lashley more than Lashley needs him, and the same goes for the opposite side of Roman Reigns. Paul Heyman needs Roman Reigns because he needs somebody to be on TV with. Roman Reigns doesn't need Paul Heyman. He doesn't need Paul Heyman to do his talking for him. When Brock Lesnar comes back, you're probably going to see Paul Heyman go away from Roman Reigns. If Brock Lesnar comes back, we don't know. So we got Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. This was a pretty good match. I'm not going to complain about it. Xavier Woods really has shown that he can be a singles competitor along with being a tag team. But we know that him, Xavier Woods, and Kofi, they're going to be defending the tag team belts against AJ Styles and Omos. And, it's just, they had this match to get to that next step, to get to that tag team match. So a very good match to start the show. Xavier Woods ended up winning the match. And after the match, the New Day were celebrating at ringside and with the titles, and then they go to the replays, and Omos and AJ Styles are on the side of the ring just watching them. I would have rather seen maybe Omos attack New Day, and we'll see, but they didn't do it that way. So Logan Matthew Berry says, I say Brock comes back, F5's Roman, and then sets up a match with Roman versus Brock. Winner gets Heyman. That's a good possibility. I know that that match has to happen because the rumored match for next year is Roman versus The Rock for the head of the table spot. And I think, do I think it's going to happen? I don't know, because The Rock has so much going on right now, but we'll see what happens. So Zero Gravity says AJ Styles is maybe the best all-around guy WWE has. I would agree. I don't know if you got a chance to see any of his stuff that he's done in New Japan. If you do, I think you can check it out on YouTube. They have clips and whatever. He had some awesome matches with Shinsuke Nakamura when he was in Japan. He had some pretty good matches with Kushida. No, not Kushida. I can't think of his name. One of the things you guys are going to learn, Logan knows this, is that I'm terrible with names. Zero Gravity says they can't have Roman lose until the Rock, or it's pointless. I've watched AJ for a while now. Yeah, I've seen AJ Styles when he was nothing in TNA, and he basically made that company, and he put that company on the map. And he's got some really awesome matches. He had a match with CM Punk in Ring of Honor that is well, phenomenal. The word association or whatever, puns. But yeah, they can't. It's going to be difficult to see. You know, the WrestleManias, and I'm not too sure about this WrestleMania, but they start playing WrestleMania for the next year after this Mania. So they would have to lock in The Rock well before him, before Mania next year. So 2022. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I really like AJ Styles, so and I don't think he's going to be around. Hey, no problem, Lag. I appreciate you joining, guys. This is Lag. I talked about you at the beginning of my my stream, and I really appreciate you joining us. It's cool. Yeah, tomorrow's Lady Lag's birthday. I'm going to be on that stream. So you should pull us all into the Discord and we can sing happy birthday to her. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, no problem. So the next match is it's a 2-on-1 handicap match with Elias and Jackson Riker versus Braun Strowman. I've gone on record as saying that I don't like this storyline at all. Because they use the word stupid and aren't really, you know, being a dad, especially with my son being 8 years old, you know, we've taught him not to use the word stupid. And I realize that WWE is trying to push the envelope. They won't ever go back to the Attitude Era, but this is the type of thing that you saw in the Attitude Era. Because they didn't care. They didn't care what they put on TV. Because it was the Monday Night Wars. And they were going against WCW. And they really don't have any competition on Monday nights. So, they did have competition on Wednesday nights, but, you know, it is what it is. So, and nothing real big about this, although they did announce the stipulation from Shane versus Braun Strowman at Mania, and it's going to be a cage match. And those of you wondering what's in the cup, it's iced coffee. So I get really bad migraines, and I can't. That's the only thing that takes them away. So really, I mean, this turned into, it was a 2-on-1 handicap match, and Elias and Jackson Riker versus Braun Strowman. We all knew what was going to happen during this match. They're not going to have Strowman lose before WrestleMania, and he basically destroyed these guys. But going back to the storyline, I don't like it. I really don't. And I've stated it in the past, but I'll state it again on this one. You know, they're using the stupid line, and I don't like it. As somebody who was picked on as a kid, I don't like it, and it's a form of bullying, And obviously WWE is not doing the anti-bullying thing anymore. So Zero Gravity says, can Shane please stop? He's a great wrestler, but most of his storylines are crap. You know, he is. He is a good wrestler. But you know what? All he's known for is his high spots that he does. Like when he faced Undertaker versus he took the bump off the Hell in a Cell, or when he faced Big Show, he took the back in the Attitude Era. He took the he took the bump off of the Titantron. You know, he's like you know, people compare him a lot to Mick Foley, and to be honest with you, are anybody gonna remember Mick Foley other than that big bump that he took off the cage, off the Hell in a Cell? You know, is anybody gonna remember him winning the world title during the Monday Night Wars? I'll probably remember it, but I think Shane is just known for his, you know, his bumps. Yeah, I love Cactus Jack too. He had some tremendous promos in ECW. So did Steve Austin when he was in ECW. Paul Heyman got those guys to do some awesome promos. And Cactus Jack had, he didn't have a lot of memorable matches in WCW. But if you look back at his career, he's going to be known more for that bump he took off the Hell in a Cell. So, getting back to Raw, we see this is just. I thought it was funny. I know car people aren't gonna think it's funny, but so Bad Bunny, who is facing The Miz at WrestleMania, pulled up in a $3.6 million Bugatti. And it was funny because they had a Nissan, I think it was an Acura, sitting next to it. So, and the car was white. And what they had was Miz and Morrison, they painted the car. They wrote Bad Bunny on the hood and with red paint, and basically destroyed the car. So it just adds to the match at WrestleMania. And as you will talk about, well, I'll talk about it now. They changed the match. It's no longer going to be Bad Bunny versus The Miz. It's going to be a tag team match. And there's a reason why they did this. Because Bad Bunny is not a worker. He's not a wrestler. So he can tag in and out with Damian Priest. And Priest can do the most of the work during the match. And, you know, so I'm not a huge Bad Bunny fan. Actually, I don't understand him, to be honest with you, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he is a rapper, because I like rap, but I just don't understand him, and he's goofy looking, too. So, I'm not a real big fan of when they bring celebrities in to wrestle. With the exception of the guy who played Arrow, he was actually training to be in a wrestling show. So, he's in a new show, and I can't remember what station it's going to be on, but it's a cable station. I think it's a premium show like HBO Max. But this is a guy that actually did the majority of his stunts in Arrow too. So, and like I said, I'm a huge comic book collector, and Green Arrow is probably one of my favorite characters. So, so that was that. So they destroyed the Bugatti, and then they show Bad Bunny coming looking for his car, and I don't know why Damian Priest wasn't there with him, but he ended up getting beat up by the Miz and Morrison, and it is what it is. I don't know how well this match is going to be. Damian Priest is a really good worker. Miz and Morrison are good workers too, and to be honest with you, Miz is probably the better worker out of the three, and so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. So then next up we got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Asuka and Rhea Ripley. I could have done without this match tonight, with the reason being is this is one of the matches that I'm really kind of invested in at Mania, and that is Rhea Ripley versus Asuka, because the match that was originally supposed to take place, it was supposed to be Charlotte versus Asuka, but Rhea Ripley slid right into that spot because Charlotte has COVID, I guess. And I talked about that on my last Monday Night Raw review. But for those of you that weren't there, basically Charlotte got diagnosed with COVID, and her fiance went on Twitter and announced the fact that the doctors for WWE misdiagnosed her, and they diagnosed her as being pregnant. And this is another thing that I don't like about WWE is the fact that their doctors can't seem to get things correct, and that's all behind the scenes stuff and whatever. But that's a lot of the stuff that I thrive on. When I first started watching wrestling, it was just about like what I saw on television. Then I got older and started getting into like shoot interviews and stuff like that. Then it became what goes on in the backstage and the storytelling and all that type of stuff. So this was a pretty good match. They actually gave the girls quite a bit of time on the show. And what ended up happening is, hey Kayla, how are you? This is for you. Thanks for joining.
Hello. It's John C.
I play that every time someone comes into my chat. So Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler ended up defeating Rhea Ripley and Asuka, but Rhea Ripley ended up costing them the match because she pushed Asuka off the top rope and caused her to get pinned. So Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler don't currently have a match at WrestleMania until the next night. Whoever wins, there's going to be a battle royal or something going on. But whoever wins that match is going to get a shot against the champs at WrestleMania Night 2. So then we get into the back and we get MVP gets confronted by Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. And basically, Cedric puts MVP up against the box, and he says, I'll see Bobby Lashley tonight. He's set to face Bobby Lashley in a match. Bobby comes in, and he's pissed, and he says he's going to wreck these guys. which he ends up doing. So next up we got, after that, we got back from a commercial and we see Sarah Schreiber, who is the interviewer. She approaches Nia Jax and Shayna backstage and asked them about WrestleMania. And then Lana and Naomi appear, followed by Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose, Natalya and Tamina Snuka, and the Riot Squad. And then Billie Kay jumps in saying that Carmella is thinking about being her tag team partner. And then Nia Jax and them, they go off and the girls are all arguing. So, on a side note, they do these talk shows. They did one after Raw tonight. It's called Raw Talk. They did one on... Hey, Lag, this is for you, buddy.
Hello. It's John C.
So they do these talk shows, and they did one called Talking Smack, and they had an interview on there where Natalya and Tamina Snuka, and Paul Heyman basically said that he stopped Natalya from talking, instead said stop bitching about not being on WrestleMania and do something. And that was a shoot. That was completely caught both girls off guard, and he's got a point. If you want to be noticed in this business, you need to stand apart from the rest. And hopefully that's what ends up happening, because I would love to see Natalya and Tamina Snuka versus Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. That'd be a cool match. And they're both heels too, so it'd be even better. So that was that. So next up we got Bobby Lashley versus Cedric Alexander. I keep wanting to call this guy Cedric the Entertainer. But basically this is Bobby Lashley destroying this guy. And he ended up putting both guys in the Hurt Lock, which is the full Nelson. And, and ended up beating Cedric Alexander. So, before I forget, I did this at the beginning of the stream, Lag, and I wanted to send a personal thank you out to you, my friend, for what you did for me on Saturday night. You will not know how much that meant to me. And letting me come in and talk in your stream, I got off that call and I was beaming. And you've done a lot to help me and welcomed me into your community, and I cannot thank you enough. I'm kind of getting emotional right here, but and I'm not an emotional guy, so I wanted to thank you, Lag and Lady Lag, because you both followed me, and I got quite a bit of followers off of that, and I can't thank you enough. So it means a lot to me. So thank you. So next up we got Bad Bunny talking to Damian Priest, basically just talking about the tag team. Oh, I want to thank Royalty Clubs for the follow. Appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. This is for you for coming into the chat.
Hello. It's John C.
So we got Bad Bunny and Damian Priest in the back, and basically they were in the ring. I said in the back, but they were in the ring, and then they showed Miz and Morrison leaving in the limo. So it's just something else to add to the match that's going to be taking place at WrestleMania, and I just want to say this, guys. I have 5 viewers right now. This is like the most viewers I've had since I started this stream, and I'm so excited. You guys won't even know how excited I am that I got this many followers or this many viewers and this many followers too. So I'm well on my way to hitting that 50, and I can't thank you guys enough. So next up we got Sheamus, who stops Mustafa Ali and basically says that he wants Mustafa to take out Riddle before their match at WrestleMania. So Sheamus is set to have a U.S. title match at WrestleMania with Matt Riddle. Riddle ends up beating Mustafa, and basically it just sets up the WrestleMania match, and it is what it is. That match, I wouldn't mind seeing Sheamus walk out with the belt at WrestleMania, but we'll see what happens. I know this match is going to be a hard-hitting match because Sheamus, I've stated this in the past, that he wanted to be a boxer when he grew up, and he loves getting hit. And Matt Riddle, is a former UFC fighter, so who has transitioned into professional wrestling. And so both these guys love getting hit. That's my phone going off. Sorry, guys. Gotta silence that sucker. Okay. So this is going to be interesting to see how this match goes. It's going to be hard hitting, and I would imagine it's probably going to be strong style, which is basically what they do in New Japan. So we'll see what happens. But I really like Sheamus too. He is real life friends with Drew McIntyre, so I was hoping that feud would go on a little bit more. But maybe after WrestleMania, if Drew McIntyre wins the belt. Yeah, let's talk about Japanese wrestling. What I watch mostly IWGP or New Japan, if that's what you want to talk about. But yeah, let's talk about Japanese wrestling. I have no problem with that. Like I said, I mostly watch New Japan. Yeah, it's really big in Japan. So Lag has asked, always wondered how big it is in Japan. I know back in the day a lot of guys would go to Japan to wrestle. It's huge over there. It's actually considered a real sport. And Japanese style, like for example, we'll use Andre the Giant as an example. Andre used to go back and forth from the States to Japan. And he was actually bigger over in Japan than he was over here in the States. And then there's certain guys that have made most of their money over in Japan. Guys like Stan Hansen, the late Bruiser Brody. These are guys that are huge. They were huge in Japan. And a little fact is that any wrestler that is non-American is considered a gaijin. And so when a gaijin goes over to wrestle, it's not like it was back in the day where the Japanese wrestlers were little and the Americans always stood out because they were huge. Because that's what it was over here in the States. Guys like Hulk Hogan, guys like Steve Dr. Death Williams and Terry Gordy, guys like Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody. So yeah, it's huge over there. And it's a completely different style too. One of the shows that I watch is if you want to get well, you can't really unless you subscribe to their network. But New Japan has their own network, similar to the WWE network, and so I just this past Sunday, I think it was, because they're on a different time schedule over there in Japan. Their pay-per-views take place at 4 and 5 in the morning over here in the States. So I couldn't sleep because my dog got me up, and I watched the New Japan pay-per-view on Sunday morning. And it was a phenomenal show. And, New Japan and All Japan are the two big companies over there. And another little known fact is that women's wrestling is huge over there too. It's so big that they have their own company, and so that's just a little trivia. Yeah, Dr. Death Steve Williams was one of my favorites. Him and Terry Gordy as a tag team. Terry Gordy was part of the Fabulous Freebirds with Michael P.S. Hayes and Buddy Roberts. And but Terry Gordy made a huge name for himself over there in Japan. And I tell you what, when I was growing up, I had a hard time watching Japanese wrestling because of the commentary. And because most of the commentary is in Japanese, and obviously I don't speak Japanese, but it's very difficult to watch. Nowadays, they have English commentators over there, which makes it a lot easier to watch. But what I would do when I was a kid was actually turn down the sound. And when you do that, you understand how important those announcers are to get those guys over in the ring. And yeah, I love Japanese wrestling, so I just started getting back into it. It's been probably about 3 years. 3 years I've been watching Japanese wrestling. You have a good night, Zero Gravity. Appreciate you coming in and coming in and joining my chat. I really appreciate that. And thank you once again for the follow. It means a lot. So the next match we got was the main event, which was Drew McIntyre versus King Baron Corbin. Basically, Baron Corbin was hired by MVP and Bobby Lashley to take out Drew McIntyre. This was actually a pretty good match. Pretty good match to end the show. And McIntyre ended up beating Baron Corbin. The reason why Corbin is on SmackDown, which is Friday night's show, and they haven't been using him over there, so they decided to bring him over to Raw and get him involved in this storyline. And I wouldn't be too surprised if you don't see him interfering in the match at Mania between Lashley and Drew McIntyre. But that is that's the Raw recap. This week, I stated at the beginning of the show, is going to be a big week. I'm not signing off. I'm just kind of telling everybody what's going on for the week. So, obviously tonight. Oh, did he really? That's awesome. Yeah, I met Bobby Lashley. He's actually a pretty cool guy. He comes off like a real dick on TV, but he is a really cool guy. I met him at an independent show, and he came in for an independent show here in Buffalo, and he was just coming off he had just gotten let go by WWE the first time, and he's a real nice guy, and real easy to talk to. A lot of these guys, which is surprisingly enough, I mean, I've met quite a bit of them just by going to the local shows. But yeah, Lashley is a real good guy. I've met Kevin Owens too, who's Kevin Steen. I've met Raven. He's pretty cool, although he was completely stoned when I met him. I met Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, their husband and wife. They're in NXT. I met Adam Cole and Tommy Dreamer. I met Demolition, Axe and Smash, which was kind of cool. Let's see who else. Oh, I met Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and Eric Bischoff at a comic convention here in Buffalo. They were really cool, although I had to pay to meet them, but that was all right. But I got to talk to Eric Bischoff for a little while, and those of you that don't know, Eric Bischoff was the runner of WCW, or the booker, and so he was a big part of the Monday Night Wars. So Leg says, always wanted to meet the Road Warriors. Met Kevin Nash at my college graduation, went to college with his niece. Yeah, I remember you saying that during one of your streams. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to meet the Road Warriors because they're both passed away. But they're my favorite tag team of all time. We just lost Animal last year, and Hawk passed away maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. Maybe longer than that. But yeah, I never got to meet those guys. Hawk was huge into steroids, obviously, by the way he looked. Animal, not so much. Story about Animal's death was that he had his anniversary. He died the day before his wedding anniversary. And he was at a convention. And he had just texted his wife, happy anniversary. It just turned midnight. And the next day he was found dead. But kind of a sad situation for those two guys. They're another team that made a lot of money in Japan. And, guys go over there and they're, people pay to see them. And, that's what happens. A lot of these guys that were in the 80s are passing away. The big stars in the 80s, like the Road Warriors, Piper, Jimmy Snuka. Funny story about Jimmy Snuka. My wife had called me. I was a manager at Blockbuster at the time. And my wife called me and said that Jimmy Snuka was doing a signing at one of the malls here in Buffalo. And she asked me if she wanted me to get, or she asked me if I wanted her to get a autographed picture from him. And I said, absolutely. So she actually got the autograph for me, and she said when he went to go sign the picture, she had to say my name, Chad, 3 or 4 times, and he was having a hard time writing. And Snuka was huge into steroids back in the day, and yeah, it was really sad. He had to have a handler to help him around. It's funny though, because he was on TV a couple times, and he had no problem walking down to the ring or anything. It's just sad that a lot of these guys that I grew up watching in the 80s are passing away. And most of them are passing away from heart attacks because of the steroids that they take, and enlarges their heart, and all that. It's just a sad thing. Let's see what else we got for news tonight. Or if there's anything else you guys want to talk about in stream, feel free to throw it up there. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier, Lag. So, Lag has asked, will we ever see The Rock wrestle again? The rumor is that he is set to face Roman Reigns at next year's WrestleMania. Roman Reigns is his cousin, and right now they're doing a storyline on SmackDown that about like the Samoan heritage, and Roman Reigns, one of his father is Afa, I believe, from the Wild Samoans, and that is Rock's uncle. And so they're doing a storyline to that's my dog walking in the background, guys, and he's gonna lay down, hopefully. So the storyline is they're doing the Samoan heritage, and they're basically billing Roman Reigns as the head of the table. And Samoans, it's huge with them, with helping out family and stuff. So they've incorporated real life stuff into the storyline. And what they're going to do is have The Rock come back and fight Roman Reigns for the head of the table spot. Because obviously The Rock is making more money than Roman Reigns with all his movies and stuff. The problem is, and I said this earlier, is that they booked the WrestleManias a year in advance. So they have to, it's only going to take place at Mania. They wouldn't have done it this year because of COVID, although they are planning on having 45,000 fans at WrestleMania, because it's taking place at Tampa in Florida, and obviously Florida has no rules when it comes to COVID. But it's going to be interesting to see how they get 45,000 fans in that stadium using the special protection measures or whatever it is. But they're not going to have Rock come back and not be in front of a sold-out crowd. And that's the only way they're going to be able to pay him, too. So to answer your question, Leg, he is going to eventually come back. And no, he is not going to win. And let me tell you why. Because, no, he's a black lab. Well, I want to thank you. Thanks for coming in tonight, Royalty. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, he's a black lab. His name is Finley. He's my third kid. and he acts like it sometimes. And that's my daughter laughing, too. No, actually, we let, so, a story about my dogs. I had a dog before Finley. He was also a black lab. And I named him, his name was Hunter. And I named him after Triple H. So he... Hold on one second, guys. Okay, sorry about that. We had an incident between my daughter and the dog. So I named my first dog after Triple H. So Hunter Hearst, and obviously the last name Z. But he was named after my daughter named him. So I don't know what he was named after, but my kids thought of Finley, and we decided to name him Finley. So so that's that. So let's talk. I want to talk about New Japan for a little bit. Like I told you guys earlier, I watched the New Japan pay-per-view, and highly recommend anybody watching New Japan stuff, because New Japan does what I like. I love watching wrestling. Their wrestling, I should say. They need the announcers to put over the storylines, because they don't do what they call house shows, or they don't do TV. So they don't have a weekly television show where they can advance these storylines. They just have to do their pay-per-views. And like I said, their pay-per-views, because of the time change. Alright, Leg, I appreciate you stopping by. And once again, thank you once again, my friend, for getting me the, letting me come into your stream and talk. It was very generous of you. I appreciate it. And thank you for stopping by tonight, too. I'll play this one more time for you. Actually, you know what? How about this one?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. It's a Macho Man one. And I got this one, too.
What?
Thank you once again, Lag, for stopping by in the stream. I appreciate it, buddy. So I really just want to talk about the main event for the New Japan pay-per-view. It was Will Ospreay versus Ibushi. And Will Ospreay ended up winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. So both their belts, both of their big belts, one was their Intercontinental belt, and one was their IWGP Heavyweight belt. And both those belts got combined, and whoever won this match was going to be a double champion. So they eliminated the Intercontinental belt instead of keeping it, and Will Ospreay ended up winning the heavyweight belt. So he is now IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And I love this guy. I love the way he works. I really expected a high-flying match, and it wasn't that. It was basically a ground game match, which was very interesting, because both these guys are high flyers. And so I mean, Will Ospreay ended up winning the match, and he is now IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So very good pay-per-view. They do a lot of 6-man and 8-man tags over there on their undercard shows. Undercard, or the undercard of the shows, I should say. And yeah, Logan, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is what Tony Khan is calling the forbidden door. So Tony Khan is the guy that runs AEW, and he has stated that he's called this forbidden door. And basically what they're doing down in AEW is they are working with both New Japan and Impact, and they're having New Japan stars appear and Impact stars appear and AEW stars appear on Impact, and New Japan stars appearing on Impact. So this is a part of that open door or the forbidden door policy, as they're calling it. And it's going to be interesting to see, because it's already been taped, but it's going to be interesting to see if they discuss AEW at all, and how that's going to work out. Because it's going to be shown on the Peacock Network, which is the competition. And yeah, so it's very interesting to see how that's gonna work out. I love Jericho. He'll go on that show and he doesn't give a crap what he says. He doesn't care. He's done a lot more bad mouthing WWE than a lot of the other guys that have come over, went to AEW. And he's the one that originally said that it was a Wednesday night war. And it really wasn't, but that's the reason why WWE is moving to Tuesdays for NXT, and Impact is moving to Thursdays. So basically we're going to have wrestling on every night. I think what I'm going to do for this show is I'm going to, for the next month or two, at least a couple shows after Mania, I'm going to still report on WWE, but after that I think I'm going to stop and talk mostly about the news. And I want to thanks Kirsch for that follow. I appreciate it. This is for you, my friend.
Hello. It's John C.
I play that every time someone comes into my stream. I appreciate that follow, Kirsch. And welcome into the Wrestling Angle. For those of you that don't know, my first name is Chad. I just revealed that to Lag the other night, and I have no problem with him calling me Angle, and actually I like it. But my first name is Chad, and it's in my logo that I have for my stream and stuff. So, but I appreciate you coming in, Kirsch. If there's any questions you want to ask about wrestling, feel free to throw them in the chat. Like I stated on Saturday during Lag's stream, I go off script a lot. Logan Matthew Berry can tell you that. You don't know anything about wrestling? Oh, it's too bad. Well, you know what? That's cool. I appreciate you coming into the stream. You don't really need to know anything about wrestling to come in here. Like I stated on Saturday, pro wrestling has been my passion. And, when I was growing up, like I stated earlier in the stream, I'm 49. And, I grew up in obviously the 70s and the 80s, when it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan. And, it wasn't cool to be a wrestling fan. So, and then the Attitude Era hit in the 90s, and then it became really cool to be a wrestling fan. You would see wrestling t-shirts all over the place and whatever. So, Logan asks, did you see what I said? Twitch crashed. It's been crashing all day. No, I didn't. I didn't know that. Yeah, man. You know what? Kirsch says, I guess I know a tiny bit, but I don't know enough to have a conversation about it. I was just hoping I'd learn something. Yeah. So let me tell you about a little bit about it. Wrestling. Yeah, it would be funny if AEW and Impact invaded WWE. I don't think that would ever happen, though. So a little bit about wrestling. So there's this stigma that wrestling's fake, and to a point it is. It is predetermined. Let's say that, and it is. There's things called storylines that they have. And a storyline can go from like a pay-per-view to a regular show to another show to another show to another show. So back in the 80s, they would have feuds that would last months on end. Now, a lot of the angles that are shot are what they call hot shot, where they only last a couple shows or a couple shows on a pay-per-view. So the storylines are what draws people in to watch the shows. And obviously these larger-than-life characters, guys like, not so much Hulk Hogan anymore, but guys like Roman Reigns, let's see, who else? Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre. On the other shows, you got Kenny Omega. He was a Japan guy. So it draws you in to watch it. So what I like about wrestling is the storylines and what goes on behind the scenes, which is a lot of the people that write the stories. And it is set to a select audience. You don't have to be a fan to watch the show, because it's considered a male soap opera. If you've ever sat down and watched a soap opera has storylines similar to wrestling. The difference between is that these guys go out and bust their ass, and they actually get hurt. These guys actually get hurt worse than most football players. And, with busted up knees and torn rotator cuffs and shoulder problems and, ankle problems and all that. So that's that. You know what? Let me show you guys something real quick. This right here, I don't know if you guys can see it. I gotta figure out what camera I'm at here. Okay. I'll hold it back because of the glare. This is my very first wrestling magazine. So this is what I talked about on Lag Show the other night. So this is Ric Flair, my favorite wrestler. And this belt he's holding is the NWA Heavyweight belt. And this was my very first magazine that my mom bought me. And they used to come with posters. And I'd have posters all around my room. And, you know, that was back when it wasn't so cool to watch wrestling. But, yeah. So Kirsch says, I have a little brother who used to watch it every so often. He bought the WWE 2K13. I know most of the people from one, but that is about my limits. Yeah, you know, the funny thing about the video games is that you don't have to be a fan to play those games either. The older games like 2K13 was I think it was SmackDown something versus Raw, I think. They were a bunch of button smashing type it was a button smashing type video game, and I have a hard time playing those games because I want certain guys to win. And when I can't beat the game to make that guy win, it's frustrating. So, similar to the way Call of the Wild is frustrating to all the streamers out there, which, you know, I get it. I don't stream that game, but I love playing it, and I get why everybody's upset about it. I'm still playing it just to get my money up. I've yet to get my first diamond in that game, and I hope while I'm playing it I don't get it, because I don't want to put something in my lodge that's not of higher score. But yeah. So, video games have become more, let's say, technical than back in the day with those wrestling games. I had one of the best wrestling video games that was ever made was, it was on N64, Nintendo 64. Really? You have 300 hours in Call of the Wild and you just got your first diamond. Wow. Yeah, you know, it's a funny thing about Call of the Wild. So we'll switch off of wrestling. We'll talk about Call of the Wild for a little bit. So, funny thing about Call of the Wild is that growing up, I wasn't a hunter. And, I maybe shot a gun once in my life. I know my dad has talked about taking me to the range to shoot a gun. I'm not real big on killing animals in real life, but video game animals I have no problem with. And it's funny that this game relaxes me. Similar to how wrestling relaxes me, this game relaxes me. And I love playing it. And yeah. Yeah, you know, a lot of the guys that I grew up with were hunters. My stepdad was a huge hunter. Funny story about that. When I was like 10 years old, my stepdad, got I want to say an 8-point buck. I may be wrong on that. May have been more. But an 8-point buck. And he was driving this Dodge K car. And the K car back in the 80s was a small compact. I live in New York. Lewiston, New York, which is a suburb of Buffalo. So he had the deer strapped to the back of his car, and the K car was like a little compact car, similar to like what a Cavalier was, a Chevy Cavalier. And he had the deer strapped to the back of the car, and he had, obviously the tongue was hanging out. And he said, Chad, you gotta go look at the deer. So it was in the winter. I got all my snow stuff on. I go out there, and the deer has a cigarette in his mouth. And he says it was amazing. I was just sitting there by the tree, and the deer came up and asked me for a cigarette. And that's the one thing I remember about being a kid and hunting. And then obviously my stepdad, got together with all his buddies, and they had venison parties. I love venison, if it's cooked right. These guys used to have venison parties, and funny story about my dad's friend. He owned a motel up here, and my dad was working on cars at the time, and he had his toolbox at the guy's garage in the hotel or motel. And on the wall in his buddy's garage was a rabbit with antlers. And I said, there's no effing way that's a real animal. He says, yeah, of course it is. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. And I couldn't remember what he called. He called it a rabbalope or something like that. So it says, here in Missouri, a deer isn't legal to shoot unless it is 4 points on one side. Really? Wow. That's an interesting fact. Yeah, I love venison. It's got to be cooked right, though. These guys used to, at their parties, make like steak and cheese subs out of venison. Jackalope. Yeah, that's right. Is that a real animal? I don't even know if that's a real animal, is it? My stepdad says it is, but I don't know. But yeah, I love. Oh, it is. Oh, it's not. You guys gonna argue out in the chat if it is or isn't? So I love playing Call of the Wild. I've got a mythical animal of North America folklore. Oh, straight from Google. See, you could have told me that was a real animal, and I would have believed it, because I'm stupid like that. But yeah, I love playing it. I was telling my stepdad about it, and he goes, "Really? You like playing it? You never wanted to go hunting?" I says, "Well, there's a difference. Is that I'm playing it in my warm house. I don't have the patience to go out and sit in the snow waiting for a deer to walk up to me, or for me to be walking and see a deer. It's different when you're playing a video game. But I love the game. I really do. I love watching Lag play it. I love watching Aimfix play it. Canada Cat. Shout out to Canada Cat tonight, because she gave me a follow. But I love it. When my dad started me hunting early, I shot my first deer when I was 10. It was a 120 inch and an 8-point buck. Wow. Did you have it, did you tax it and get it mounted? I know in my, it's funny, the story I just told about that buck, my dad still has that deer head, and it's in his basement. And when we first moved into our house, when I was a kid, 7th grade. Oh, that's cool. That's cool that he had it mounted. When we first moved into my house down here in Lewiston, my dad had the deer head mounted on above the fireplace, and my mother hated it. And she said the other day, she says, the first thing that's gone when your father passes away is that freaking deer head. And then I told my stepdad, why don't you put the deer head in the garage? And my mother's like, no, I don't want that in the garage either. Shut up. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've never, he never really took me because I never really felt the need to go out and, I'm kind of an animal lover, and I don't fault anybody for going out because it's a sport. It really is. It's just something I'm not into. But like I said, shooting video game antlers, I have no problem. I have no problem playing Call of Duty either and shooting humans. I always said that if I wanted to hunt something, I'd go out and hunt humans. But that's just a joke, guys. I don't mean it. But shooting humans in Call of Duty is a little bit different. I'm no good at that game either. I've tried playing online with people, and I get demolished in that game. It says my dad shot a 170-inch deer last year. He got a Euro mounted, and now regrets it because we might never find another deer that big again. What's the difference between the different mounts, Kirsch? You said Euro mounted earlier. What is the difference between the mounts? Is Euro mounted meaning it's on like a plaque? Or... Oh, okay. So it's just a skull. Okay. Well, I learned something new. What's it called? The skull can be on a plaque or whatever you want. What's it called when you mount it on a regular plaque, like the deer head just mounted on a plaque with all the fur and the antlers and all that stuff? Let's say, is that called a special name? See, I don't know. You wanted to get a full mount. Oh, it's called a full mount. Okay. See, I don't know any of this stuff because I don't hunt. Oh, it has the antlers too. So a question: Do they have to cut the antlers off and then put them back on the skull, or can they take take all the fur and everything out of it and keep the antlers on? Because the antlers are part of the bone, right? I think. Oh, they skin the skull. Okay. They don't allow you to do that in Call the Wild, do they? You can't skin the animal. You can just mount it in your lodge. That'd be kind of cool if you could do that. If you could get the animal skinned and have just a skull up there. That'd be kind of neat. What do you think about the addition of dogs to the game? Either one of you guys, either Logan or Kirsch. Or whoever else is in here. It says I got 6 viewers. And those of you that are watching, generally I just talk about wrestling in here, but I got some of the Call the Wild streamers in here, and I'm learning more about the game. Call the Wild is a hunting game. It'd be kind of interesting to see if they could put that in the game. What do you guys think about the dogs? Do you use them? Because I know, speaking for me, the dog helps me track the animal. I've noticed that I haven't lost that many animals. You know what's funny? Yeah. It's funny too because I thought when they said they were releasing the dogs, I saw a picture of the bloodhound, but I would have thought a retriever would have been better for hunting than a bloodhound, especially if you were hunting duck, because the retrievers are water dogs. Yeah, I was in Lagstream. I was on. He had me in his. He had me come on and talk, but I was watching the the shootout between you guys, and that was pretty cool. You know what's funny about that is I only found the range, and it was done by accident on Leighton. When I first started playing the game, I'm like, what the hell is this? And I didn't know anything about it. And so then when I saw that he was going to have you guys shoot at the range, on the each map must have a range. Yeah, with all the bugs in the game, I haven't really experienced the bugs that much. But I haven't really played it since I played it a couple times with the dogs. I like the addition of the dogs, really, but I haven't had any crashes or anything. I played on PS4 though. I know a lot of the streamers, they play it on PC. My PC isn't. It's probably a strong enough to do this stream. I can't play any games on it. It's an older computer that I've upgraded some things. Okay, so they're going to be releasing retrievers and pointers. That's kind of cool. It's really just constant game crashes and codec glitch. Do you play it on PC or do you play it on console? Because I know when I talked to Lag Friday night, we were talking in his Discord. He wanted to bring me in to do the shooting, and but when I told him I played it on PS4, he's like, "Oh shit!" And then I thought, "Oh man, I'm gonna lose my opportunity to talk about my stream." But he brought me in. I didn't know he was gonna do that. We talked about it, but I didn't know he was gonna actually bring me into his stream. I think the beaver thing is funny. I know it sucks, especially if you. The only tents I have are the ones that are given to you at the start. I think they give you 4 tents or whatever it is. But I've never had that happen. I maybe have 2 tents up on Silver Ridge Peaks, and that's it. One at the dinosaur thing, and then one at another where the cats are. But I can understand that's frustrating that the beavers knock down the trees. Yeah, too, that would be kind of cool if they added raccoons in. One thing I do love to do is camping. And we constantly, the one year we went camping was down in Allegheny State Park, which is on the border of New York and Pennsylvania. There's a lot of raccoons down there, and obviously when you're camping, they're scavengers. My biological dad owned a coon dog. I got to meet. Long story short, my dad and I. The dad I talk about all the time is my stepdad. Him and my mom married when I was 5. My parents divorced when I was a baby. My dad had come back from Vietnam, and he was kind of screwed up in the head, and my mom didn't want to be around him. So he remarried, and they moved to Texas. So he lives in Leandersville, Texas, and which is a suburb outside of Austin. And he owned a coon dog, and that's the first time I've ever seen a coon dog up close. So you own a beagle. How do you deal with the howling all the time? Does the beagle howl? Because I know it annoys the hell out of me when my dog barks. We'd have our front door open and he barked. We live on a busy street, and he barks at everybody who walks by and all that stuff. So, what's your dog's name? Charlie. Okay. The one thing I need to do is get some type of spamming thing in here, because I don't want people spamming my chat with ads. So if you're in here, you Diesel, no, I don't want to do that. And would appreciate you didn't spam my chat with ads. He barks at people he doesn't know, and he always likes to bark at his reflection in the windows. You know, it's funny, dogs are smart, but they're dumb in the same aspect. My first dog, Hunter, was very friendly, and I could take him over to my parents' house, and he would he was okay around other dogs. This dog, Finley, who's the same dog type, a black lab, he hates other dogs. Oh, he named him Cena. Well, I'm sorry to hear about that, Logan. Yeah, when my first dog passed, Hunter, I was wrecked. I mean, we had him before we had our kids, and he died of he had a form of cancer, and that was the worst call I ever got from the vet. I was at work at the time, and my wife and I had to make a decision to put him down or keep him alive. We went through everything with that dog. Charlie's an idiot when it comes to most things, but we never trained him, and he knows exactly how to bring in rabbits. Really? Are beagles known as hunting dogs? Like, I know bloodhounds and retrievers and stuff, but I've never heard of beagles being hunting dogs. Okay, they're good for rabbits. Okay. That's interesting. The beagles are a smaller dog too, which makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, that's what they're known for. Okay, that makes sense. How did you come up with the name Charlie? Oh, that was his name when you got him. Was he a rescue? Was he a rescue dog? Because I know rescue dogs are huge here in New York. We actually bought Finley from a breeder. Hunter, my first dog, was he was a purebred. I'm not too sure if Finley's a purebred, but we could do anything with Hunter, and he was good. I could take him in the car and all that stuff, but Finley's a different story. He's got to be trained to do pretty much everything. He's real temperamental too. Like earlier on, the reason why I had to pause the mic is because my daughter, who they're very close, he started growling at her. So he may be pissed because I won't let him into the room where my wife is sleeping because I got the door closed. That's another reason why I do my streams late at night too, and mostly during the days, because nobody's around. I mean, obviously this week everybody's around because the kids are on break and my wife's a teacher, so I have to do the streams later. Also because the shows are on. At least tonight's show, Raw, was on till 11 o'clock. Oh yeah? What grade does she teach? My wife teaches 5th grade. She's a special ed teacher. Fourth, okay. Yeah, so your mom probably... I know my wife. My wife gets to see the kids as they change. You know, they become... well, because she teaches special ed, so she sees special ed is different these days than it was when I was a kid. Special ed was like kids with Down syndrome and all that type of stuff, and they would be in their own special classroom. Special ed these days is kids with learning disabilities, and they come from broken homes and all that type of stuff, and have behavioral issues. So, so my wife gets to see it all. Really? That's interesting. Oh, is it it must be a private school then, because we've got private schools around here that they start at pre-K and they go to 8th. Yeah. I used to work with a woman that her daughter was in a private school up here, and she was having a hard time making the decision whether to put her in public school or have her basically shipped up to Buffalo, because that's the only place they have private schools, and have her go to a private school up in Buffalo. So my kids are in public school. So hold on one second, Kirsch. You said you're from... Missouri. Okay. So how is the COVID down your way? Because I know up here it's the kids and stuff are still remote learning and haven't gone back to school yet. So for example, well, my son needs he needs help with reading and that type of stuff. So he goes 4 days a week, and my daughter only goes 2 times a week. So is your state completely opened up down in Missouri, or are you guys still dealing a lot with COVID? And Logan, if you're still in here, what state are you from, buddy? Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I know it's difficult too. Like, I will say this. I talked about during a lag stream that I've been without a job since November, so it leaves me a lot of time. And I'll tell you what, it's been a godsend because I don't think when my son wasn't going to school 4 days, he only does one day of what the Zoom my parents or my wife's parents wouldn't be able to handle the technology. So it's a good for that reason. It's a good thing I've been home. But yeah. Oh, you're in Michigan. So, well, if you're in, oh, that's right. We talked about this because you made a crack about my Michigan hat. It's funny. Lag made this a crack too about Michigan. You either love Michigan or you don't. I guess. I know. I find that like with Michigan, um, most fans are Michigan fans, but then on the flip side, it's Ohio State that they're a fan of. So the people that hate Michigan are Ohio State fans, and um, I don't have a fight in the game either way. I mean, I love watching Michigan. They're not that good. Yeah. Do you guys know who won the Baylor Gonzaga game tonight? I normally do like a bracket every year, but because I've been out of work, I didn't get into it this year. Yeah, I figured Baylor won. Wow, that's interesting too. So they went undefeated this year, I think, right? If I remember correctly. I wanted Gonzaga to win though. I picked them a couple years in a row to win the finals when I was doing a bracket. Missouri fans, yeah. I there's another person I watch. Oh, she's a Michigan fan. That's funny, Logan. Another girl I watch. She lives in Kentucky. She plays mostly Call of Duty. Her name's Puff, Tiny Pufferfish. I don't know if you guys know her, but she gets on me for being a Michigan fan too. Of course, Kentucky's not all that great either. I would imagine. What's fun? You know what's funny? Because I also follow her on Snapchat, and I saw that she lives in a double wide trailer. And I asked my dad, who lives in Texas, and they're Longhorn fans through and through down there, especially my stepmom. Um, I asked my dad, why is it that most people in the South live in trailers? And he had said that the reason is because the trailers are more inexpensive, and basically you're buying the land. So they have 10 acres down there, and they just basically plop the trailer on 10 acres. And my step sister or half sister lives on the property too. We got to visit them a couple years ago before COVID hit. We were planning on going down and seeing them last year too, and that's really when COVID hit. 550 acres, huh? Do you hunt on the property too? And do you work on the farm? I know they own just crops. Okay. Yeah, farming's huge up here in Lewiston. It's like a small country town. We have one street going down the center. It's called Center Street, and it's mostly small businesses. But in the like in the country type area, farms are huge, huge down here. Actually, my former boss owns a farm, and they make most of their money off of apples, apple picking, and all that type of stuff. So I don't think I could ever work on a farm. Too much hard work. Okay. Yeah. I know up here a lot of the farmers hire Jamaicans. And how I know that is obviously because of my former boss, but I used to work at Radio Shack, and the Jamaicans always used to come in and buy the prepaid phones. Yeah. Now, do you stock the woods with like deer and rabbits and stuff like that? Or do they just come onto the property by themselves? Farming has always interested me. I know it's very hard work and can be very rewarding, but I don't know if I could ever do it. I'd like to be around the animals, though. That'd be kind of cool. My former boss, they don't have any animals. They have dogs, obviously, but no animals on the farm. It's just crop. Yeah. So you can't shoot a deer down in Missouri unless it has 4 points on one side. So basically, when you're sitting in your tree stand, you have to count. You'd have to count the points on the deer before shooting it. That's got to be a pain in the ass. Because I know for with Call of the Wild, if I see an animal, if I see a deer that has a huge rack on it, I just shoot it. Yeah, that would suck, having to count the points. Yeah, that would really suck. Obviously, so do you have to get a permit or a license, like a what is it, like a doe license or doe permit or a buck permit, where you can only have a certain amount of deer on your permit, or do they do things different down there than they do in New York? Because I remember my dad talking when I was younger that he was only allowed to shoot a certain amount of does and bucks. And I remember him telling me that it's not cool to shoot the does. I'm learning all this stuff about hunting tonight, guys. This is awesome. Is your so what time is it right now in Missouri? You have to have a license and get from through weapon safety class. And then landowners get one free tag for the antlerless deers, does or buck. And one free buck tag and the others. Oh, okay. Yeah, I never understood that. See, that's another reason why I wouldn't be good at hunting, because I'd be like, okay, I see something, I gotta shoot it. I know that's the way it is in Call of the Wild. I know I watch these guys, and they're looking for, okay, so you're 2 hours behind me, because here in New York, well, you're 1 hour. So here in New York, it's 1 o'clock. So you're 12 o'clock there. Okay. Yeah, in Call of the Wild, I watch guys like Aim, Fix, and Lag, how they're looking for certain things. I just shoot it. You know. I don't play the game. Well, the one thing I hate about the game is the amount that the guns cost. Because right now, I'm using the 30-06 to basically hunt. And by the time I get myself the ammo and all that stuff, like right now, in-game currency, I have about 9,000. And I probably have about 50 30-06 bullets, and they're 850 a piece. So by the time I'm done, that $9,000 is pretty much gone. So yeah, I haven't tried. I shot a rabbit in that game with a pistol one time. That's the only thing I used the pistol for. But that's another thing. The ammo for the pistol costs so much in that game. But I'm basically just playing the game now to get my money up, so when they get the bug fixed, I'll have enough ammo and all that to go after the diamonds. Because to be honest with you, I don't want to shoot a diamond right now if it's not an actual diamond. The highest I've gotten is a gold. Yeah. Yeah, see, no, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, you're going to go out and shoot. Yeah, fortunately, the gold that I got, and I got a gold the other day, it didn't show up in the codex as a gold. So it was probably a silver. Because I read online that was the bug. That the golds were showing up as diamonds and the diamonds as great ones. But Yeah, this was probably a silver. I still had him taxed though. I put him in my lodge because I like the rack. I like the rack he had. I like in that game too how you can put him in different positions. It's kind of cool. Yeah, one higher. Does it change the money too? Or is the money the same? Or does the money all depend on how you shoot the animal? Like if you get the 4 checks, does that give you more money? See, I played on PS4, and the one thing that I was noticing is that I couldn't fast travel on Silver Ridge Peaks. I couldn't fast travel to Dinosaur Hill. Oh, it's how you shoot the animal. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't fast track to the lot or to the Dinosaur Hill outpost. So I set up a tent and a tripod over there because that's where I get most of the cats over there. I actually saw a albino mountain lion the other day, but I couldn't catch up to him to shoot him. Pissed me off too. It's right before they added the dogs. And every time I go back there, he's not there. Yeah. Well, he went right past me, like there was no warning or anything. I mean, he looked white. But yeah, he didn't warn me or anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I would have known that if I would have shot him. But I couldn't catch up to him. That was in Cougar Valley, I think it was. The outpost. I came right out of the outpost, and he was walking down the trail. And I was too far away to shoot him. And he was going the wrong way, and I didn't want to hard shot him. Or what do they call that? The Texas hard shot right up the ass. I didn't want to do that because I wanted to make sure I got the good score. And he wasn't turning. Oh, grays are common. Okay. Yeah, I'm learning more and more about this game. Silver Ridge and Layton are the only ones I've hunted on. What map do you think I should go to next? Because I got everything on. I did all the missions on Silver Ridge. I still have to do all the missions on Layton. I'm on the one mission with Layton where you have to either take a picture or shoot the 2 black bears. I didn't even know there were missions in the game. And then it freaked me out the one night. I set the time down to 6 a.m. I think it was. And I walked out and the fucking wild started talking to me. I thought it was a ghost. Scared the shit out of me too. Like, what the hell is this? Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't tried multiplayer yet. You play it on PC though, so it's not cross-platform. I think I remember Lag saying it's not cross-platform. I really love the game though. I mean, all the maps are free on multiplayer. Okay. Whatever you do, don't do Leighton. Why do you say that, Logan? One thing I don't like about Leighton is there's a lot of woods. I think I have all. I took a day or two to unlock all the outposts on Leighton, but I got all the missions and everything done on Silver Ridge. I really like Silver Ridge. There's a lot of animals on there. All I was getting on Leighton was female moose. Oh, really? Well, I don't have a lot of hair on the top of my head, so I probably should stay off that map. Are they? Yeah. I know the reason why I did all the missions on SRP, and I didn't realize this, on Leighton, and I moved over to SRP, is every time you do a mission, it gives you experience points. I didn't know that. And then when I started doing all the missions on Silver Ridge, I saw that my experience was going up. And so forth. So, well, guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I've been on for about 2 hours, and I appreciate everybody coming in tonight. Kirsch, Logan, I appreciate you guys staying in my chat. I appreciate Lag coming in and doing a little talking. Royalty clubs. I appreciate you guys coming in and keep me talking. Kirsch, anytime you want to come back and talk Hunter Call of the Wild, feel free. Logan, obviously you're the same. I have no problem talking about that game. I wish I could stream it better on my PS4, but I may try doing it after the bug fixes. So, but like I said, I'm gonna call it a night. I appreciate both you guys. Yeah, no problem, man. I have no problem doing that. But I appreciate you guys both coming into my chat tonight and following me. And you guys will never know how much that means to me. I never thought I'd be able to do something like this. It really is outside my comfort zone. And but I really enjoy talking about the Hunter and wrestling and all that stuff. So thank you once again, guys, for coming in tonight. Thank you for the follows, everybody. Very, very close to getting my 50 followers, and I want to become affiliated so I can start earning some subscriptions and stuff like that. So everything you guys have done for me, yep, Chad, or you can call me Angle, whatever way you want to do it, but you can call me Chad, no problem. I appreciate it, Kirsch. But I will talk to you guys later. I'll probably see both you guys on Lag stream tomorrow night. I'll be in there. Lady Lag's birthday. So, alright. So, you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you both soon.